give an overview of supply chain management and APO, what are the tools in APO, and in the tools, what is that we are going to cover it. I just want to know, have you been exposed to the APO earlier or it's the first time?
I have taken a coursework in APO, but I would say you can consider me a beginner.
Okay. Okay. Why the APO or the supply chain came into existence? I think you can just see here. The purview of supply chain is from the supplier to the consumer or the customer. Okay. And in between, we have what you call a manufacturer, a distribution center, retail outlet, or I can say is and the final is a consumer. The information what the consumer needs has to go to the via media through retail or through distribution center to manufacturer has to reach the supplier. That means suppose you need a product today. Okay, if you want to buy a product today, that information has to go about 3 months back or 2 months back based on the lead time for manufacturing, based on the lead time of delivering the goods to the final consumer. So that means I should be, as a supplier, I should be in advance than the consumer so that I can deliver the goods to him within the time what he requires. So that's why we say that information, advanced information should be given to the supplier. Okay. And the transfer of materials happens from supplier to the manufacturer distribution and retail outlet to the consumer. The cash goes, the cash is the opposite direction. So why the existing supply chain optimization has come into the picture is the demand is there, the supply is there. Okay. So to minimize the gap between the demand and supply, optimization has come into the picture. That is called as to increase. That means if I want a supply today, if I meet the supply, then you are meeting a customer requirement and you're you're satisfying the customer. That means the response time to meet the customer demand is very, very less. So the gap between your demand and supply, you're reducing it. That's why we say it is supply chain optimization or advanced planning and optimization. What is meant by optimization? You're optimizing your resources. You're optimizing your cash flow. You're optimizing the the need of the customer. How do you optimize your resources? Okay, and how do you optimize the cash flow in terms of the revenue, how much you're generating, and all these things. So there are various. SAP has come with a tool called as an advanced planning optimization. Earlier it was APS 3.0. Now it is called SCM 7.0. Supply chain management 7.0 with EHP 3 is there in the market. Yet to release to the wider market, but it is EHP 3 is released only to the people who are using APO since last, I can say last 2 years or 3 years. But as a wide, EHP2 is widely used now in the market. Okay. In APO,
what is it? EHP2?
Enhancement Package 2. See, earlier it is the versions like SCM 5.0, SCM 5.1, then it has come SCM 7. So SAP has decided that will not go for further versions of SCM 7.0, but it only release the enhancement package. Okay, like SCM 7. Is the latest, and it will not be SCM 8. It will be SCM 7 with EHP1, EHP2, EHP3, EHP4 like this. So this is called enhancement package. Now at present it is the latest version is EHP3. But EHP3 is not released to all the market yet because it's still small changes are going on in EHP3. But EHP2 is widely used. Okay, so this is what I was saying. That what is the supply chain problem is the lead time and the delivery time. That is your demand versus the supply. So this you optimize the lead time between your delivery to the final customer. This you optimize it. So that is why we call it as a, and this is a major problem. At present, we have a major problem. Why? Suppose if the goods are ready, we don't have the vehicles to dispatch. Okay, if vice versa, if I have a goods, if I have vehicles to dispatch, sometimes goods are not ready because of my production problem. I don't have the capacity. I have full demand and I have full raw materials to make, but I don't have the capacity to make it. So you require additional investment to increase the production capacity or handling capacity, whatever it is. So that's why to minimize whatever the available resources with you, to that you optimize and to get maximum profit out of it. So that you're satisfying your customer and also your needs to get a maximum profit. So that is your supply chain problems at present, and that is why it has come in this. If you just see this picture, SAP has come into the picture like the relationship between the manufacturer and supplier. We call it as a procure to pay, that is metals management.
Sri, I am just seeing a green, light green or bluish screen. That's all I'm able to see.
Let's see now. I think it will come because the relationship between the supplier and manufacturer, we call it as SAP right? It is in procure to pay. And the relationship...
Shri, just hold on. Are you showing me some presentation? Because I'm not able to see anything right now.
Yes, I'm showing the presentation.
No, I'm just able to see the...
See, we have in the supply chain the supplier, the manufacturer, and distributions, and the retailers, and the final consumer or the customer. So SAP has come a relationship between all these 5 attributes, whatever I told just now. The relationship between supplier and manufacturer, we call it as a procure to pay. That is nothing but the metals management. The relationship between the manufacturer and the distribution center through retail outlet, we call it as the order to cash. That is called as sales and distribution. And within the manufacturing, we have like production planning. That is the other one is the supporting activities like plant maintenance. The other activities like quality management, project systems are a part of a manufacturing. So APO is a mix of your metals management, is a mix of your production planning, and it's a mix of order to cash or sales and distribution. That is, APO compromises of your metals management, that is procure to pay, production planning, and also the order to cash. That's why we optimize supply chain optimization compromises of all these 3. That is called as we call it as a logistics. When we say logistics, these 3 will come into the picture. Finance is not a part of supply chain optimization. Okay, finance has a separate, the finance and controlling has got a separate optimization process called as financial supply chain management. This altogether is different. Okay. The other, now I'll come into detail. ECC planning tool. Have we worked on ECC planning tool like MRP and all these things? Have you understand? Have you have an idea about that?
I have just worked in my school. That's it. No, I mean not in a professional setting, but academic setting. That's it.
Okay. See what happens. Okay, I'll tell you. So APO is a planning tool. It's purely planning tool. It got all the tools like demand planning, supply network planning, production planning, and detailed scheduling, global available to promise, extended warehouse management, spare parts. These are all planning tools. But the real execution happens with an execution system called ECC, Enterprise Central Component, where the data to APO comes from ECC, master data, the transactional data to APO comes from ECC, and these planning tools work and gives a planning results. The planning results go back to ECC where the actual execution happens. Okay. What we call a seamless integration will happen between APO and ECC.
Can you repeat again how it works?
See, how it works is that there is an integration, what we call as a core interface or between an execution system and then planning system, which is called CIF, core interface. Okay. During the first thing you should understand what is the master data which we required in the APO planning for supply data planning. In detail, I'll tell when we talk about supply data planning and how this integration happens. It's a part of SNP. CIF is a subpart of SNP where this integration between ECC and APO can be mapped together. Okay. So what are the advantages of APO is high performance using live cache technologies. Global server integrates multiple OLTP systems. That means one APO server can be connected to multiple ECC systems or non-ECC systems. APO can be connected to ECC and non-ECC also. Okay, and it's a collaborative planning via internet. That means for example, eBay.com or Amazon.com, you do the purchasing, right? Okay, you go to the product and you select it and you do the final purchasing. That backend is nothing but tool called an APO, where what is available stock of the particular product, SKU, the details, everything are stored in APO, for example. That information comes to your front end, where you enter all your details. The backend, it goes to your execution system, where invoice and all this gets generated. That's why it is called collaborative planning via internet also. Or as an end customer, you can enter your end requirements. So that will be taken part in a planning and that will be planned also. So these are the various means which helps in APO. And simultaneously we plan for your material and finite capacity requirements. Cross-plant optimization of the resource loading. Sequence or setup optimization of orders, transportation optimization with route planning, evaluation and analysis of orders. So that means suppose in a purview you have 5 manufacturing plants. 5 manufacturing plants located in some part of India, some part of US, some part of UK, and some part of in Asia Pacific. So in Pacific region. So there, how do you integrate all this into one network? You know the capacities of all these 5 manufacturing plants located in different locations. You bring into under one purview of supply chain. You do the optimization of resource loading. Suppose if I'm not able to manufacture at UK plant, I can manufacture in some other plant in India, then transfer the material to UK. If it works cheaper, then I'll try to do that. So this type of optimization can be done in APO. Okay. What are the components of APO? I earlier told the components of APO are nothing but your demand planning is the first tool. Demand planning is a tool where you forecast based upon your past history sales and generate an unconstrained forecast. It is a well-wish of a customer that what he wants or the end supplier what he wants. It's a simple forecast generated by different tools. There are about 103 tools available in APO system with variability in the data. Where using past history sales, say 1 year or 2 years or 3 years, the best is 24 data points, that means 24 months, that is 2 years of data is minimum required to generate a statistical forecast a future 1 year. Upon this, we can have a additional forecast like consensus forecast. That is called as an unconstrained forecast. That is nothing but your demand planning tool. And also in demand planning, you can plan promotional activities. Promotional activities in terms of you get 1 plus 1 is equal to 1 as a free component. Then you will have extra quantity, 30% extra. You will have a cash discounts. So all this can be mapped in a promotion planning event. The third is new product introduction. Suppose you are planning to introduce a new product. How do you forecast it? Using as a reference of old product or just using some statistical model to generate a new forecast for the new product. Then the fourth one is phase in, phase out. Phase in, phase out is nothing but suppose you are running one SKU from last one product from last 6 months or last 1 year. For example, iPhone 3, okay, iPhone 3 and iPhone 4. Now we have introduced a new product called iPhone 5 and iPhone 5C, 5S and 5C. Are the new products. So the phase in of 5S and 5C they'll introduce only little markets like in US they've introduced, like UK they've introduced in specific. So that is a phase in. And in this market also they've reduced iPhone 4 and iPhone 4S so that the netting of the quantity is always the same. So and slowly they started introducing to other markets now, and slightly they reduce other products. So how this phasing happens, how the phase out happens, this also can be planned in a tool called demand planning. So you can do the forecasting. That means you can generate unconstrained forecast. You can do the promotion planning. You can do the new product introduction planning, and also you can plan for phase in, phase out. And the fifth one is exceptional, or I can say alerts. You can generate alerts for ease of planner. For example, you for a particular region has not generated a forecast, and forecast is less than the minimum level of sale there. Then we can generate an alert saying that the forecast generated for this particular product at a particular place is less than the quantity which has sold from last 3 months or last 6 months. So this is called exceptional report. So that also can be done in a demand planning tool. So that is nothing but it's very simple, robust tool which got 103 statistical forecasting techniques with a variability in alpha, beta, gamma, and sigma, and the periods. The seasonality also can be mapped with the forecasting. It can be planned at different levels, either product location level, or we can plan it at different levels. So this is a robust tool in demand planning. The next tool of APO, what we call it as a supply network planning. The demand planning generates unconstrained forecast, means it's a wish of the particular salesperson or a marketing person or a customer that he wants so many products. But as a manufacturer, I should be able to manufacture that because I should have my resources, I should have my materials to make that so that I can meet the demand. This unconstrained forecast is sent to supply network planning, where the output is called as a constraint plan. Why you're constraining it? Because it constrains based upon your resources, it constrains based upon your lead times, it constrains based upon your cost factors. So there are 3 multiple tools in supply network planning. The first tool is called as a heuristic. The second tool is called as a CPM, capable to match, and the third tool is called as a optimization or an optimizer. The 3 tools works in a different way. All the 3 tools works in a different way.
Hello.
Yeah, yeah, I'm just coming.
Okay. Okay.
Heuristic is nothing but a simple net requirement planning. What does this? It takes the demand, checks the stock at my locations, it subtracts the stock, and balance demand it sends to the manufacturing plant where they produce it depending on the capacity. Okay, there is a manual intervention in the heuristic tool to level the capacity between one location, one resource to other resource. The other tool is capable to match. You can match your supplies and you can match your demands by prioritizing. Suppose customer one demand is high priority than customer two demand. Okay, then you can prioritize this customer priorities. Suppose there are 100 customers, you can prioritize your customer 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 based upon their revenue generation and all these things. You can take your own decision and you can prioritize that. And also you can prioritize your supply. So from this supplier, I'm getting okay. You prioritize that as one. Second supplier, you can prioritize as two. Third customer, you can prioritize. Third supplier, you can prioritize as three. So there will be a pegging between your supplier and the customer in the tool called CTM. CTM is called as capable to match. That means you are matching your supplies and demand. So this is the second tool. And the third tool is your purely an optimization. Optimizer. What does that optimizer mean? Optimizing of the resources available within your manufacturing plants, and also it optimizes the cost. There are various costs involved in entire supply chain. The cost factors are, what are the cost factors? The first cost factor is the manufacturing cost. The second cost factor is a non-delivery penalty, what we call it as, suppose if I don't deliver to this customer, how much cost I'm going to incur. Then next one is safety stock, storage cost. Then I can have a delay cost. Suppose if I delay this delivery by 7 days, do I incur any penalty to pay to the customer because I'm not able to deliver this to a particular customer on the day what he requires? So this is called delay cost. So all these costs coming to the picture in optimization. Then entire supply network, that means your suppliers, your manufacturing plants, your distribution centers, or your end customers come under purview of this entire what you call supply chain. Then you optimize it. That means a supplier side also you can optimize. You can optimize at manufacturing. You will optimize at distribution center based upon the cost factors, based upon the capacities, what you have, what is available at each of these locations. So the output of optimization is nothing but a constraint plan or a production plan at manufacturing plants, and the what you call movement of your material from plant to depots. That is called stock transfer requisitions, and movement of material from depot to customer or plant to customer. That is also called as an STR, but just an information that so much of demand has come from the customer and so much is liable to get it. So these are the output of your supply chain planning, that is S&T planning. So these are the three tools of supply network planning. Any questions?
No, Shri.
Okay. So the other part in supply network planning is there are another tools like deployment, safety stock planning, and total load building. So deployment is a subpart. What happens is deployment has got certain tools. Okay. What do you mean by deployment? So I have a stocks available today with me. And I also have production plan, say 100 units of production I'm planning today, and I have a stock of 50. So total I have 150. I'll be having 150 by end of day. To which customers I can fulfill this 150? Because my demand is coming from three customers. Say customer one is 100, customer two is 50, customer three is 25. So my total demand is coming as 175. But I'm able to supply only 150 because 50 I have in stock and 100 is only production plan. So this 150, how I'm going to distribute to these three customers? That is nothing but your deployment. There are different rules in that. For example, fair share. Fair share means how the demand is coming in the same fashion, I'll supply this. That means 100 plus 50 plus 75, the total is 175. So 100 divided by 175, this customer owes us 80%. So this, out of this 150, I give 80% to that customer one. And that 50 is out of 175, say it is 10%. Out of this 150, I give 10% to the second customer. And this 25, the last customer, is a balance 10% or 5%, whatever. Out of 150, I give that the customer as 5%. So that is called a fair share allocation based upon the proportional distribution of their demand. That is one method. The other method is I give priorities to all these customers. I give customer one as priority. So out of 150, I give directly 100 to him. I give third customer as priority 2. So I give 25 to him. So what is left over? 25. So I give to the second customer who got a demand of 50, but I give him only 25 because his priority is 3. So this is second set of rules. The third rule is you can give a quota arrangements between all this. I give 33%, or I give 50%, I give 25%, I can give 25%. So these are the various rules available in deployment or in the distribution planning based upon the stock situation. As and when if you run the deployment, then you will have a clear picture to the customer that when you are going to supply. Then the next part is called as a truckload building. What do you mean by truckload building is, you have a truck capacity of, say, volume and weight for each truck. Okay. Suppose a sales order or a requirement from the customer has come saying that I want some 3,000 units of these pieces. But in your truck, you're able to, because of the voluminous of that, the pallet size, the voluminous, you may accommodate only 1,500 or 1,000 pieces, not behind that. That means how many truck loading it should have for 3,000? If it is 1,000 pieces, it should have 3 trucks. So the system based upon the volume, based upon the pallets, you define as the capacity of the truck and the customer. For that customer, it divides the 300 of the sales order into 1,000, 1,000, and there where you will build up trucks based upon the supplies. So that is called truckload building. The final tool of supply network planning is safety stock planning. Okay, safety stocks plays a very important role in your entire supply chain. What do you mean by safety stock? That means you are storing some stock with you. When an emergency come into the market, you release it based upon the demand. To store the stock, the safety stock, it should take the variability in your supply. It should also take the variability in your demand. Then only you can plan how much stock you can store. Apart from that, you will also see that the stock is incurred to store that material. A rent, suppose you have a stock of 100 units or 1,000 units, you are storing somewhere. A stock to store that cost is involved in that. So that cost factor, whether you are able to bear it. The other thing is, what is the shelf life of that particular product? You can't, suppose it's a food product, you cannot store them more than 1 week or more than 3 days. It has to be dispatched. Can you have a safety stock at that location for that particular product where your shelf life is only 2 days or 3 days? So this type of planning can be done in a safety stock planning tool where advanced methods, there are so many advanced based upon the target stock level, based upon the safety data. So suppose I want to maintain a minimum 7 days of stock with me, that you can maintain and produce 7 days stock with you. That is called a safety days of supply. Then target stock level, I should have so much of target stock to be maintained at each of these manufacturing plant. First, it fulfills the safety stock, then it fulfills the customer demand. So these are the various sub-tools are available within the safety stock planning. So demand planning, where you can do the forecasting, that output is unconstrained forecast. This unconstrained forecast is sent to your supply network planning, where you have three different tools like heuristic, the CTM, and optimizer. It is not necessary that you should implement all these three tools. At the most, if I implement heuristic, I'll not implement CTM and optimizer. If I implement CTM, I'll not implement heuristic and optimizer. It's all the way like this. The reason is the ultimate results of all the tools is the same, but the methodology is different depending upon the business requirements and the business flow, what the particular business is having. Based on that, you should suggest what tool be used. For a simple result like this, where I have prioritizing my customer, at place I use my CTM. Where I want to optimize my supply chain based on the cost, and if the business is able to give you the cost, business able to give the realistic cost or optimistic cost for all the cost variables in supply chain, then you can go for optimizer as a tool. Otherwise, simple tool called heuristic, where you can do the net requirement calculations. Then you have a deployment, then you have a TLB, truckload building, and also you can have a tool called a safety stock planning. The origins of a demand planning is, say, I can plan for next 1 year, I can plan for next 2 years, I can plan for next 5 years. 5 years is a business planning tool. Okay, operational planning is for only 3 months. For next 3 months, that's why we say quarter results, right? Why we say quarter results is because it's an operational planning. Every 3 months we keep on planning it. And also the year planning, annual planning. So we call it as the operational planning, annual planning, and a business planning. So all these three are supported in demand planning. Whereas in supply network planning, it is maximum to the annual planning, not business planning. It's maximum to the annual planning. And day-to-day horizon will be like 3 months in a quarter supply network planning. Deployment works, say, minimum of 1 month or minimum of 1 week, because your stocks keep on changing, your production orders keep on changing. As on today, what I have, based on that I should deploy. That means on a realistic basis, you want to do the distribution plan. That's why deployment horizon will be less than the supply network planning horizon or a planning tool horizon. TLB and deployment horizons will be the same. Safety stock, it depends whether you want to plan for entire 3 months or you want to only plan for 1 month, that you can define. So these are the tools which are available as a planning tools, that is demand planning and supply network planning. Supply network planning requires master data such as materials, then I can say plants, distribution centers, and customers, vendors. Then this data should come from an EPC. the information flows from ECC to APO through called as core interface, CIF. Apart from this, there is a transactional data. What is the transactional data? A sales order gets generated at a customer node. Customer gives a sales order. Sales order is a transaction. Purchase order. That means you are moving a goods from your plant to depot. You should generate a purchase order. And if you are giving a requirement to a supplier, that time you should give a purchase order. Then only again the purchase order is supplied. So that is one type of transaction data. Then production order. Production order is one of the transaction data where the information goes to the manufacturing plant, how much to be produced and what date it will be produced and how much time it will take to produce it. So these are the transaction data like purchase order, sales order. The other one is production order. This transaction data also should come from ECC because it already is producing something that should net it off, right? So all this transaction data should come to APO from an execution system, either it may be ECC or any other ERP tool. Will bring all this data into the APO where we do the planning. Any questions, Sachin?
No, Shri.
I think you're able to understand, right? And just keep on.
Yeah, I'm taking notes because I'm not able to see the presentation.
Yeah, see, I'll just, whatever I just told today, I'll just send it out. I'll just give it to her. So I'll try to give it to her so that she can send it out because it's a very big file. That's why it cannot come in a tool. Now, other thing is, benefits of supply network planning in APO is multi-site, midterm, rough cut planning. See, in this, you can, four types of planning, four types of resources can come. One is production, the other one is storage, transportation, and also handling. Handling resource means, see, nowadays, you should load into the truck, right? When the goods are ready, packed, and kept, you have to load into it. There is some certain capability of the truck person that how much he can load per day. In the scenarios like India, what happens is that we will have a governed by the labor law saying that so many hours you should work, and also there will be union. Even I have a capacity to say 40 KT every day I can produce it, but I cannot dispatch more than 20 KT because my workman cannot handle more than 20 KT. So where should I keep this additional 20 KT which I'm producing daily? Do I have that storage capacity, or should I extra employ more employees so that I can do the remaining 20 KT? Is that viable? So this type of handling type also can be planned. Transportation. There may be scarcity of vehicles in one region. There may be scarcity of excess surplus transportation. How do you optimize this? Storage. Sometimes you have to produce more, but you want to store somewhere else. You should have taken a godown or a warehouse where you can store this. You should pay rent for it, employ some person to take care of it. All this purview can be brought into supply chain where you can optimize so that at least the end benefit is that you should have a maximum profit out of this. And critical components, bottleneck resources. Suppose we have 5 processes, okay, in making it. Out of this, one resource has bottleneck for you. It takes long time. For example, in the steel industry, the blast furnace takes about, I think, 4 days or 5 days to complete end-to-end process. But remaining, the front end, there are 2 processes, the last end, there are 2 processes. It takes only 1 day to complete it. So 1 day, then it takes 5 days, then again 1 day, 1 day. So until this 5 days process is completed, the last 2 resources will be idle. Is it viable to keep idle? If I keep idle, then what is the loss which I am incurring it? So this critical bottleneck resources are also can be done. For example, in FMCG industry, I can mix the shampoo or, for example, in Johnson and Johnson or anything, we just mix the shampoo in a bucket in a big tunnel of say 3000 kt, and we try to pack it into sachets, or we can try to pack it into 5 ml, 10 ml tubes, or we'll try to pack it in 30 ml. To pack it, it takes long time. To mix it, it takes 1 hour. But to pack it, it takes 3 hours. That means the 2 hours is idle. My mixer is idle for 2 hours. Where is that cost is going? My labor is idle for 2 hours. Where is that cost is going? So all this can be factored in a supply chain. If I keep one more line, okay, suppose there are 2 lines are there for filling, can I accommodate within 1 hour I can complete this so that next mixer can be ready and I can do the changeover, do the cleaning, and then by the time its mix is complete, I'm ready to do the filling. So this type of planning can be done in supply network. Hello?
Yes, we are here.
Yeah. So any questions here?
No, actually, thank you.
Okay. So that's it. This is a basic introduction to all the tools. In detail, if you go right, you'll be having what master data required at each of these locations, at each of these positions, and what is the requirement for this tool. How do you use this tool so that you can do the analysis of the results? First, to start with, it will be with demand planning. Demand planning will be basically on the configuration part. In the demand planning, you have to do your configuration based upon the business requirement. But in supply network planning, the master data changes, but the tools are pre-configured. You do not do anything on the tool side. You just use master data, small changes in the master data, data build-up. Then you start using your tools in directly supply network planning. Any questions?
Can you please repeat how it is done in SNP?
Sorry?
How it is, like you said, in APO configuration is done based on the business. What about SNP?
SNP is configuration is, I can say it's only 5%. There's no configuration for management planning because standard APO tool has gotten all the capabilities of that standard planning books, planning areas and everything. Okay. In that only we have tools. Tools is heuristic is available, optimize is available, CTM is there. Yes, we should maintain the master data for that tool and system will work. But in demand planning, it is not like that. We should create our own. There are about 21 steps for customizing in demand planning, 21 steps. But in SNP, it's hardly only to create master data and just master data is like a transportation line, location, product, quota arrangements if you have anything, and just execute your supply network planning. Select one of the tool, it gives you the. Okay, all these are written in C++ and language at the backend, heuristic or optimizer or CTM. So we don't touch the tools, we don't configure the tools like other it's predefined tools. We have to just use it, but the input is the correct master data. What is the master data? We'll explain you. Very accurate master data, then it will be accurate to this. But in demand planning, it's purely business requirement, sales and marketing requirement. A regional sales manager will be there, a marketing head will be there, okay, a sales executive, the person will say. So he is having his own purview. So we will define a different marketing book, sales book, and sales executive book where he can enter the forecast. So levels, different levels. At what level? What are the characteristics you want to see? Let's say we have to select three characteristics, three types of hierarchy. The character one is the product hierarchy, the other one is the customer hierarchy, the other one is the geographic hierarchy. What are these to be taken into consideration? And what is the master data required? Demand planning requires a master data called as characteristic value combination. Okay, at then that has to be generated. So that's why demand planning, I can say 80 to 90% is the configuration which you require based on the requirements. But it got a tools of factor forecasting, it got a tool of promotion planning, it got a tools. Okay, but to build up the master data, it's 80% configuration in demand planning. But in supply data planning, no, it's all predefined tools are there. You can use any of these heuristic or you can use any of these optimizer or system. Just you have to meet the master data. Yeah. Any questions?
No, please.
Yeah. So that's it for the today's session. And in detail, I'll take up one topic to start with demand planning.
Okay.
And what are the five tools of demand planning? And what is first is configuration. How to go about the configuration? What are the terminologies we use in demand planning? And all this.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.